You don't see too many X Factor contestants singing about the government's welfare cuts and mass austerity measures. Big record labels want nothing to do with it. But musicians have always been vocal and critical of politicians, expressing their anger through their music. But welfare cuts and zero-hour contracts are spurring on some artists, and they are providing a soundtrack to the anti-cuts movement.
You persecute the vulnerable, it's tears of irony. It turns out all these years you've been living rent-free.
A man who goes by the name of Captain SKA is doing just that. His most recent single, Nothing, 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 a reggae tribute to Ian Duncan Smith and the dreaded bedroom tax.
You, there's just nothing, nothing, nothing nice to say about you. There's just nothing nice about you.
Captain SKA, welcome to Going Underground. We'll get onto your new single in a second. Ska music, very popular in the 1980s, around Coventry, I think it was. You're bringing it back in this age of austerity.
Well, I like to think it's, it's good fun, party music, and, it's great for getting the message across. People can have a party, and they can also get the political thing going as well.
Is it those minor chords? Is it
yeah,
the
it could
beat?
be, although our new single's in a major key, actually. So, yeah, but mostly minor. Minor, fast.
And of course, then we had, or at least just after the Ska revival of the 80s, we had Red Wedge. Nothing. Are you all alone at the moment?
Well, I don't think I'm all alone. There are some other artists, but yeah, I am a little bit alone. There doesn't seem to be many people doing political stuff, and that's actually one of the reasons why I'm doing it.
And why do you think that is?
Well, I think lots of big major artists are quite scared to, really say what they mean. Lots of people I've met as a freelance trumpet player, they've got that political thing. They understand how bad austerity is, but I think they're a bit scared. I think they're scared to actually say what they mean. I think they're scared of their record companies. They're scared of not making the money. It's a big problem.
But at least you think the big artists are aware that there is some kind of austerity going on.
I think they're aware of it. I think they are aware of it. And, my message to them is, come on, get out there. It's the worst cuts to our welfare state we've had in more than a generation. Do something about it with your music.
And as for the unsigned bands, what if the record label says, get rid of the politics?
Well, I say stick with what you're doing, stick with the message, because actually I think people in this country are waking up a little bit at the moment, and I think political music is on the comeback. So I'd say stick with it, see where it goes.
But quite a thing to ask of a young musician on the cusp of great success, hopefully, and some money, finally getting paid for their music, and being told, look, just try and turn it into love song.
With the younger generation, and I know this generation well because I teach children as well as being a trumpet player, and we've never had such high youth unemployment. With that generation have never had it so bad, and they're angry. And they're wondering what they're going to do with their futures. So I think that generation are becoming quite political, and I think that's exactly the right place where this music could maybe fit in well.
You don't think there's a general disillusionment and apathy with politics that makes them think, no, just think about personal love and not international love?
Of course, there's a little bit of disillusionment, and I blame, obviously, Nick Clegg a lot for that, because there's an entire generation of people who trusted him. Tuition fees, EMA, and they went out and they voted for him, and look what happened.
Do you think corporate power influences the music industry more than it, say, did back when
without
Red
doubt.
Wedge was
Absolutely, without a doubt. Musicians, it's hard enough being a musician in this country anyway, and I think obviously the big artists, the well-known artists, obviously are slaves to their record labels and have to some extent, toe the line. And, I congratulate people like Plan B who have come out and done some political music. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
But I suppose people like Plan B and yourself, quick to sometimes be critical of talent shows like X Factor, which are very popular in Britain. Not much sign of political music there on
No,
X
there's
Factor.
no sign. You're never going to see political music in the X Factor. Well, I think when you have the mainstream media run by empires such as Murdoch, I think it's just shut down before it's even started. It's not going to even be a contender on shows like that. And that's why shows like this are fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
But it's not even as if the young artists that are auditioning on programmes like that, none of them have come out and said they banned us from wanting to do a cover of, I don't know, Stand Down Margaret by The Beat or whatever.
Well, I don't know, you get a lot of people applying for those shows and you really don't know what people apply. I suspect there have been some political acts who've wanted to go on X Factor and Britain's Got Talent. Perhaps they haven't got through. But, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some anti-austerity bands that were trying to get on and just haven't made it.
Well, the new single is out before the album in January.
That's right, yeah.
Focusing on Ian Duncan Smith. Why pick on him?
At the moment, a quarter of children in this country are living in poverty. By 2015, there's going to be 600,000 more. The gap between rich and poor has never been greater. 2/3 of people affected by bedroom tax are disabled, and even the IMF have come out and said that austerity, these cuts, are regressive. They disproportionately affect the poorest 10% in society. What is there to like about Ian Duncan Smith and his policies?
Very little. I can answer to that. Yeah, the statistics are something. The statistics on your YouTube channel, presumably quite comforting that people are responding to this message against.
Yeah, it's very comforting to me. I started Captain SKA really just with frustration at some of my colleagues in the music industry not really doing anything about anti-austerity, and also really looking at some of the children I work with as a trumpet teacher and seeing they're missing out on music education due to these cuts. And I'm really, really appreciative of people who watch the channel, who spread the tunes around, because it's heartening to see that people are responding to this music.
And the Trade Union Congress called your song Liar Liar an anthem of the anti-cuts movement. Can we expect that on the album and the other songs as well?
Yeah, I mean, there's an anti-austerity vibe that goes through the whole thing. Not every tune is actually UK politics. We've broadened it a little bit. So we've got a single coming out end of January, which I don't want to say too much, but it's looking at a previous UK Prime Minister and his relationship with a certain country in the Middle East. So that single is also coming out in January.
Will it get played on the radio? I noticed the BBC just held an inquiry about the anti-Margaret Thatcher song during the Thatcher funeral. Well, they said, well, look, it's in bad taste when you have songs that insult politicians, dead or alive.
I hope it does. Liar Liar got some radio play, which was great. Massive shout out to Terry Christian, who was the presenter in The Word all those years ago. His radio station up in Manchester, they've been playing some of my tunes. So, there is a little bit of Captain SKA on the FM airwaves at the moment. Hopefully there'll be some more.
And just a reminder, the album's out.
End of January 2014.
Thank you for going underground.
My pleasure.